Yo, what is going on, you guys? Bashtian here, and today I'm going to be coming at you guys with my fully filtered, fully filtered, only sprites with the Spright engines, of course, deck profile for you guys. We need no Bastille, no cash money, Fenrir's needed, no $300 engines, $200 engine, whatever it is. We don't need any of that nonsense to make this deck viable. So I've been playtesting this for a little bit, as you guys know. I've been kind of out of commission for the past 2 weeks, or for the previous 2 weeks. Now I've been playtesting quite a bit with this deck on YGO Pro, and honestly, I really like the way that this deck really works out right now, especially with the addition of Spright that obviously adds an additional dimension to the deck, being able to send the Nimble Angler. We do of course play a Nimble package in here, the Nimble Angler from deck to grave, just to be able to continue on with your plays is so good. And it just gives you additional extenders. It pretty much guarantees you your 9 times out of 10 or 8 times out of 10 you're always going to be making a gigantic Spright with 3200 attack. More often than not, you're also going to be able to leave that on board as well, which gives you additional follow-up for next turn. It gives you a 3200 beater on board, which also just nice to have as well. This deck can still put up probably a much more menacing board than what it used to when it was at quote-unquote full power with Ronin Totem. Unfortunately, RIP Ronin Totem is what it is, but we find a way to improvise, and that's what I love about this deck overall. I think Spright has such an adaptability that is unmatched by any other deck currently in the format. The second you get with the Tier Element and the Shizu is pretty much going to be a pretty cookie cutter deck. You play 3 of all of them except for one of them. I think it's one of the Sentry. You only play a 1 of or whatever it might be. There's some deck profiles just came out at some tournaments that had the Ishizu cards legal, and that we're going to be tackling in tomorrow's video. So if you guys want to go ahead and check that out, make sure you subscribe and follow the channel for that down below. So we're going to be tackling that. I want to tackle a lot more of the other meta decks as well. So if there is a meta deck that you want me to touch on, definitely let me know in the comment section down below. Definitely touch on that as well. But without further ado, guys, hit the like button, subscribe, and let's get right into the deck profile. Like I said, guys, I've been testing this quite a bit on YGO Pro, and I've had really good success with it, so I definitely want to go ahead and get this out to you guys as well. I've had 3 copies of Spright Blue, 3 Jets, 1 Red, 1 Carrot, and I am still playing the 1 Pixies. I've seen a lot of people cut this from their decks, but it is still nice to be able to beat over whatever your opponent has, and it's nice to be able to have that option in the event that you have no other ways to get around what your opponent has. So it's just still nice to go ahead and play as well. If you do not like this, definitely cut it. This is, I believe, a 42 card build, so you definitely have space to cut stuff that you may not like. But overall, pretty standard Spright stuff in there. Next, for the rest of the monsters, I play 3 copies of Swap Frog, not 2. So why do I play 3 if it's really, there's no need for the 3rd one, quote unquote? The reason for it is really just a consistency issue. I have bricked playing Sprites more times than I would like to admit, realistically. So I just want to make sure that does not happen. It might just be my luck, but I really just want to make sure I always have a level 2 in my hand and a level 2 or Spright card in my hand as well. That's why we are playing 9 Spright monsters in the main, along with, of course, the Spright starters and whatnot. But just having as many level 2s in your deck as possible. Plus, these work off really well with the Nimble package. We play 3 Nimble Beaver and double Angler. I don't understand why people are playing just 1 Nimble Angler. I think that's a mistake, and the reason I say that is because if you're only playing 1, in theory, if you open up just 1 Nimble Beaver and that's your only extender, you go normal Beaver, special Angler, and then that still leaves the other Nimble package in your deck to be able to go ahead and bust out whenever you need it. So what you do is normal summon Beaver, special summon Angler, send these 2 to the grave, summon Spright Sprint, activate Spright Sprint, send Nimble Angler from your deck, special summon 2, and then you can go full combo from there. So that is why I like to play double Angler and 3 Beaver. Just because it gives you another line of play, and it gives you another resource that comes in really clutch, especially when you don't need it, when you do need it, I should say. And that's come up quite a bit in my games, where I just have the 1 Nimble Beaver in hand, and that's really it. Also, these are water monsters as well. which comes up really clutch also, especially with the Swap Frog. For the last monster engine card I play, one Hyperia. The only reason I'm really playing this because it gives me something else to summon off of Gigantic Spright in the event I already have my full engine going, just to be able to go ahead and get additional advantage that way as well. I really like Hyperia at 1. 2 is just cloggy, and if you draw 2 of them at the same time, it just doesn't do anything for you. So I think just 1 is just fine. It is still hard once per turn, so there's really no need to play more than just 1 because of the amount of recursion that this deck has. So 1 is going to be good enough for me. And now we are done with the monster engine part of the deck. Now let's get into the hand traps, guys. For the hand traps, keep it very clean. 3 Ash Blossom, 3 Ghost Bell, 3 DD Crow, 3 Lava Golem, and 3 Infinite Impermanence. So, with this being such a graveyard heavy format, especially with these Shizu cards, I definitely wanted to go ahead and max out on cards that hit the graveyard. Another card that you can play hits the graveyard is Skullmeister, but I just don't really like that card as much as DD Crow or Ghost Bell. I just think these two are more impactful than Skullmeister, personally. DD Crow, of course, being the best, and then Ghost Bell protects your cards from getting banished from your opponents. DD Crows are might have the banished cards in the graveyard when you target it with Elf, so that comes in really clutch as well. Ash, of course, there's a lot of branded Bestial cards happening right now, branded Bestial decks. So you definitely want to watch out for that. Plus, Ash is still probably the most versatile hand trap in the game. Now, as far as the Lava Golems, I was playing Nibiru in this, but realistically, I found that playing Nibiru in this format, it just doesn't really work out very well because Sprites are gonna make their Gigantic Spright before their 5th summon. If they don't, then they either bricked or I don't know. Look, if you're playing Spright, you have to make your Gigantic Spright as soon as possible if you're able to. So that's something that definitely worth considering. So I think Lava Golem is just a lot better, especially with the Tree Elements getting negates as well. Just being able to tribute over whatever, and this does not take away your normal summon, which is nice. I was really considering playing the Sphere mode, but the normal summon is still pretty important in this deck. If you're playing like a Runic Spright build, then I would probably recommend the Sphere mode over Lava Golem, just because a lot of the end boards now are not just 2 monsters, it's multiple monsters. I mean, Dragon Link ends up with a whole bunch of monsters, Tier Limit now a whole bunch of monsters, especially with these Shizu. I would just go ahead and go Sphere mode and just tribute everything and, you know, call it a day from there. But Lava Golem for right now, and then triple Imperm, just because, of course, just being able to negate cards on the field is really important as well. Other cards you can play instead of Imperm if you would like is Ghost Mourner or Effect Veiler. I just like Imperm because it's a little bit more versatile. It helps because Effect Veiler is really good when you're it's only effective during the main phase of your opponent's turn, and this just helps you shut off play into boards. It's a board breaker card essentially, and it's also an interruption, so that's why I prefer Imperm. But I've seen a lot of decks now, especially that are a lot more focused on negating on the field. So they'll be playing triple Ghost Mourner, triple Effect Veiler, and triple Imperm, which I think is a bit overkill. I think the graveyard is a lot more important in this current format, but again, that's just my personal opinion. So overall, I think that's 15 hand traps, if I'm not mistaken. 15? Yeah. So 5 hand traps, and that's going to be it for the monsters and the hand traps, guys. Now let's get on to the spells. Alright guys, so for the spells, we are playing 3 copies of Spright Starter, of course, 1 Smashers. Really, let's not try to get too crazy with it. I mean, you don't need a second Smashers, it's not mandatory. 1 is going to be enough for you. Triple Prosperity to make sure you have that consistency. Consistency is key, and it's very easy to go ahead and pick out which cards you actually want to banish from your extra deck. And I'll show you guys that in just a little bit as well. 1 called by, and then for the traps, we just play 1 trap, 1 Spright Double Cross is all we need. I really like this card quite a bit. It gives you 3 Toad negations on your opponent's turn. So having 3 Omni negates that you can go ahead and set to your field, I think is extremely underrated, and that's why I actually really like this card. I mean, 90% of the time when I'm activating this card, that's the effect that I'm activating, but it does have other cool effects, but that's pretty much what it'd be good for, is to be able to set up your Toad, to be able to negate an additional time per turn. So that's really good as well. Like I said, guys, 42 cards in the main deck. I've had quite a bit of testing with this deck. I actually really love the way it plays overall. I've bricked maybe once in I want to say 12 to 13 games. matches, I want to say I bricked in one duel. So overall, very consistent deck, very powerful deck. And that's gonna be for the main deck, guys. 42 card main deck. Now let's get on to the extra deck. So guys, for the extra deck, we played 3 copies of Spright Elf. I've seen some people cut this down to 2. I just think that's wrong. I think the third one always comes up, and it is nice to have. So that's my personal take on that. 3 Elf, 1 Spright Sprint. Of course, you are going to need to play the best new support for the Spright deck. This really just helps boost your deck up so much. 1 IP, 1 Dark Gloomy, and 1 Avermax. I'm still playing the Avermax, guys. I really like this package overall. Avermax is an extremely difficult card for a lot of decks to just beat over, so overall, really good card. I don't know why, guys, I only cough when I'm in here recording, so I don't know if it's y'all. I don't know if it's this room. It's most likely this room. I don't know what's going on. I think it's the lack of AC in this room. I was going to be honest with you. But I am moving to a new place at the end of the month, so it's going to be very exciting. You guys a quick tour of the new place once we get moved in. So the rest of the extra deck, we played 2 copies of Gigantic Sprites, 1 Toad, 1 Soul Sweeper, 1 Mannequin Cat, which is the newest addition to the deck, which I actually love so much. It's really good. It only really conflicts if you are going to be activating the Spright starter at the very beginning, but the opponent's turn, I should say. But really, Mannequin Cat is just so good in a lot of different scenarios, and the different targets you're playing, which is Thunder King Ryo, Tosanut, Erat, the little turtle on a pillar, an insanely good card against Tearlament, and of course Chaos Hunter is really good as well. So Mannequin Cat is actually a very strong card in the formats. 1 Sky Cavalry, 1 Downerd, and 1 AA Zeus to round up the extra deck as well. And that's gonna be it for the extra deck, guys. Now if there's anything I would change in here, to maybe take out the Downer Magician and put in like one of the Nightmare cards, like a Nightmare Phoenix or Unicorn, probably Phoenix. But that's the only real thing that I would consider switching. I do feel like I miss the Nightmare cards every now and then. If you don't have the Tosiru Erat whatever card, it's like a $4, $5 card, but it's like so weird to have. That I don't recommend playing Mannequin Cat at all. Of course, it is a side deck card still, but which you can also side a Mannequin Cat, which is nice as well. But another card you can play instead of it is also more Nightmare cards. But Gin Buster is another really good card you can go ahead and play in this deck. I mean, realistically, you're gonna have a lot of potential leftover dark monsters on your field anyway, because there's different sequencing you can do for your plays, so you can go ahead and set up your Gym Buster very early on to protect you. So that's gonna be it for the deck profile, guys. For quick targets that I always use for the prosperity, I always go 3 starting off, just because this deck you do have to rely on your extra deck quite a bit. I go for the dark, go for the Downerd, and depending on how I'm feeling, I'll go for the 3rd elf or the Mannequin Cat. It just depends on what I'm playing against, how I feel about how my hand is going. So these are 2 that are always going out of my deck for the prosperity. So that's gonna be it for the deck profile, guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. I really enjoy being able to record content for you guys. Once again, I feel like it's been forever. I know I said this yesterday, and I completely forgot that I was recording. Whoa, it's starting to rain. I was recording for Halloween this past weekend, so unfortunately I didn't do anything crazy for Halloween yesterday, but next year I promise I got you guys. I know 2 years ago I did like a gimmick puppet deck, which was a lot of fun, so we'll do some more fun stuff for the holidays, guys, I promise. So that's going to be it for the deck profile, guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one.